Since our last interview, there's been a lot of violence in hip hop. A lot of rappers have gotten killed. FBG Duck, a Chicago rapper, got killed in broad daylight. Mo3 got killed also in broad daylight. A car chased him down in Dallas. FBG Duck died in Chicago, his hometown. And we recently interviewed, one of our regular guests, Boosie. And as we were talking about the whole situation, because FBG Duck, he was essentially on the Rodeo Drive, Fifth Avenue of Chicago. He was shopping with a female friend of his. There, the Louis Vuitton store, the Gucci store, and everything else like that. A couple of cars pulled up and just opened fire on him and killed him right there in the middle of the street. And then two other people, the girl that was with him got shot. She tried to return fire. A guy that was asking for a selfie, he got shot in the process as well. But Duck ended up getting killed. And when I talked to Boosie and we were talking about the situation, he said that sounded like a hit. Because I always assume that, if someone's going to kill somebody, they have to feel like there's a reasonable chance that they'll get away with it.
You don't be thinking about that.
No?
Nah, not when you don't be thinking about all that. All you be thinking about is that bag. All you thinking about is that money.
What do you mean?
All you thinking about is money.
Well,
when niggas slide.
Well, money from who? Like there was a money on his head?
I'm just saying, like when niggas put bags on you, of course. They don't be thinking about no consequences. Nigga thinking about that bag. Nigga gonna spray you in there, you on site. On site mean wherever I catch you at. When it's on site, like, especially if that bag bigger than 20, they gonna on site you.
Oh, okay. So you mean to tell me that that's still a very real thing where someone will actually put some money on someone's head and say, okay, if you kill him, you can come collect from me?
Yeah. That's how everything, yeah.
From your point of view, does that sound like a hit?
Has all the markings of it, yeah. I mean, drive by, they knew he was there. It wasn't an accident. Obviously I'm familiar with that type of, violence. So it sounds like it to me, without a doubt.
Well, Boosie said that, without naming any names or situations, where he comes from, which is Baton Rouge, a hit cost anywhere between $2,000 and $100,000. In the world that you used to live in, how much does a hit cost, or were hits just done based on, your affiliation, which you have to do?
Yeah, Vlad, look, in our life, you didn't pay for hits. If they were done within the family, you didn't pay. When you recruited into that life, you become a member. That's your job. If you're given an order to do something, you do it. You don't get paid for it. And I hear things all the time. There's a $500,000 contract on my head and blah, blah, blah. And people have said that in the past. Well, I don't know of any mob guys that ever paid anybody to have somebody whacked. It's something you're supposed to do. So, what guy is going to shell out $500,000 to have somebody killed? So, to have a number between 2,000 and 100,000, that's not realistic to me in my life. Now, I can't comment on something else. I can't comment on, what happened in Chicago with this particular situation. But I know in our life, we didn't pay for these things.
Okay, so for example, you have guys like the Iceman, who ended up passing away some years back. And he was responsible for killing dozens and dozens of people. He was a contract killer. He wasn't actually part of any Mafia family, right?
Well, the story is that Roy DeMeo, he was part of DeMeo's crew, and that DeMeo had enlisted him to do some killings. Even then, I never heard, and I can't say whether DeMeo paid him or not, but I never heard that he did. And I think, the movie about Kuklinski was exaggerated. I don't believe he was that close to DeMeo as that movie claimed that he was. I'm not saying he wasn't a contract killer. I just don't know of any particular incidents where he was paid.
So It's always done within the family. You never bring in an outside hitman or pay anyone else outside.
I'm not saying it's. Listen, I know that there might have been an incident or two that I heard of and that I was aware of where the Westies, that was a group, a tough Irish group out in back in New York, where they might have been enlisted by, our crew, one of our families, to do certain work. But even then, I never heard that they got paid for it. I heard there was some kind of barter that maybe, as a result of you working for us, we're going to help you in this situation. I can sit here and tell you that I've never heard of anybody in my former life getting paid to do a hit.
Okay, so what you're saying is a certain number of people have a sit down. It's agreed that this person has to go, whether he is about to testify against someone or he did some level of high level infraction. And then whoever's in that meeting will assign someone to go do the job.
That's how it's normally done, yes.
Okay. But now you're kind of tying in a conspiracy, right? Because if you tell someone else to go do it, they could turn around and say, well, he told me to go do it. And now multiple people are now involved in this. So why not just go and do it yourself and cut out the middleman in a way?
Well, listen, if you look at the RICO Act, the federal racketeering laws, I mean, that's what happened. That's what killed so many guys. When I say killed, it got so many guys indicted and put away for a long time because people became informants and they said, yeah, I did the job, but he told me to do it. So, in federal law and racketeering law, you're just as guilty if you're involved in that kind of a conspiracy as the person that pulled the trigger. And normally it's the person that pulled the trigger that becomes the informant or the snitch. So, they buy themselves out of a problem and they put the people that allegedly ordered it or were part of that conspiracy, they're the ones that do all the time. So yeah, under the racketeering statute, anybody that's involved in any way is held responsible.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
It is.
That's pretty crazy. And, you've had figures around you, like the Grim Reaper and so forth that were known. I mean, the numbers were probably exaggerated, but a lot of bodies under their belt.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's always an exaggeration of the bodies. The feds always. I mean, my father was allegedly killed 30 or 40 people, or maybe more than that. They always inflate the numbers, I think, or they hear something and they just throw it in the stat. But look, the Grim Reaper. I mean, he has his reputation. I think some of it is well deserved. We all know he was an informant now for many, many years, and but he cooperated and. Like I said, the story's well known, so.